there's this cable news channel called MSNBC. It employs such luminaries as Joy Reid. But this is not from Joy Reid's show. This is from Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough, and I guess the other lady is his wife. And it's a whole bunch of leftists just lying about everything all the time. It's just boring nonsense, whatever. However, once in a blue moon, something happens where you see these people actually realize that it's their own policies that are destroying their own cities. And it's quite extraordinary to watch them realize it in real time. So here's a panel. There's about 87 talking heads, and they're talking about San Francisco and crime, and they're slowly, it's like their brains are turning on. They're slowly realizing that these cities like San Francisco and Portland are run by leftists, just like them.
So, Joe, while some of these images, of course, are shocking to look at, they're absolutely not surprising to anyone who lives in San Francisco, given what's happened in the last few years there, which is the district attorney has signaled there, we're just not going to prosecute property crimes. We're going to do it at a much lower rate than it's ever been done. In fact, it will be a misdemeanor if you steal less than $950. That was a proposition, a referendum that passed in that city. All the signals, and it's not just San Francisco, but it's what we're talking about here, are that if you want to go in and steal stuff, we're going to sit back and let it happen, or at least we're not going to prosecute you after we catch you.
Well, I mean, it's in San Francisco. And by the way, I'm not sure what the mayor of San Francisco is talking about. We must stop this. I mean, it's been happening for a couple of years now. A good friend of ours went into Louboutin store to get a pair of sweats. About 10 people stormed into the store, pulled out guns, and just started piling stuff into suitcases. San Francisco is out of control. Portland is out of control. And you look, in part, you're right, Willie. I mean, laws have consequences. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who sent the memo out that, like, over the last couple of years was a dawning of the age of Aquarius, and we actually didn't have to worry about crime and punishment, but we do. We do. And when you don't, these are the consequences.
I mean, just spectacular. Tell me that's not just spectacular. All of those little TV box leftists, including, although he didn't say anything in that segment, that's chief race huckster Al Sharpton, all of them suddenly realizing that it's progressives who run Portland. It's progressives who run San Francisco. It's progressives who run New York. It's progressives who run LA. It's progressives who run Seattle. And that it's the mayors and it's the DAs and all of these things. And you can sort of see it and sort of, they don't know exactly what to say. And then Joe, and my God, did you hear that, guys? Joe has a friend who went to buy Louboutin. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Louboutin? Who went to buy Louboutin sweats, which just sounded expensive. So while we were playing the clip, I asked the guys to Google it. Louboutin sweatpants cost $2,300. No conservative is spending $2,300 on sweatpants, okay? That is obviously, he's a lefty, his friends are lefties, they love money, and they love making other people feel guilty about money while they hoard money for themselves and buy $2,300 sweatpants. Poor Joe with the friend my friend couldn't get to do it. I'm literally wearing the same pair of sweatpants I've had for like 5 years right now. They're ratty and they're old, and I love them. I love them. Anyway, I don't like these people very much, in case you can't tell. Speaking of people I don't like, and related to this story of sort of the ridiculousness of leftism, what these people do, like parasites, they go to places and they destroy cities. Nancy Pelosi, who of course is one of the most powerful congresswomen in America, I'm fairly certain she's also an alcoholic, she just bought a $25 million house in Florida. Now, do we have an image of the house? There's the house. That's Nancy's new house. And my God, what is all that blue stuff right beyond her house? It looks sort of wet. It looks wavy. Is that water? And I thought that the water was rising and sea levels were coming. You'd have to be a psychopath to buy a $25 million house if you were a good progressive lefty who goes to climate conferences and tells people not to, drive their cars while you fly there in private jets, et cetera, et cetera. But she's a hypocrite, of course, and she's moving to Florida, where, of course, she would tell you that Ron DeSantis has mismanaged COVID, but she's going, even though she's 8,000 years old and obviously in a high-risk group because of COVID, but she knows it's all bullshit. This is what these people endlessly do. So anyway, this picture leak. Oh, and I should also address, it's like, where did this woman get $25 million? I mean, I get it. This is what politics is, right? Like, you're just connected to all of these people. Her husband is super rich. What was he? He's like a finance guy or something. Yeah, so, and they're loosely somehow, isn't she like the second cousin 14 times removed from Gavin Newsom or something? Like, he's a traitor or something like that. Anyway, it's like she's got $25 million for a home. This woman should not be governing over you. She's governing over you idiots in San Francisco. That's what she's actually doing. But anyway, David Sachs, my buddy from Craft Ventures, who was one of our investors in Locals from the All In podcast, he had a great tweet on this because I just think this is just so perfect. He tweeted out, I have a pitch for a sitcom. A progressive Speaker of the House using insider trading gains retires to a rich Florida community filled with the very people she used to demonize and moralize against, including a former president and top golf pro. Hijinks ensues, too unrealistic. Then he went on to say, pilot episode. In order to add staff quarters onto her mansion, former speaker must battle Byzantine permitting process, thereby drawing the ire of local bartender and environmental leader Alexa Obesado Caballo. I want to show you some of the other houses of some of these rich people because they're very concerned about rising seawater, right? And it's coming, you're going to drown, you're going to be sitting in your hot tub drinking your champagne and the water's going to get you. Here's Barack Obama's house. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's Barack. He moved to Martha's Vineyard. I think that's about a $12 million house right off all of that blue stuff, the water, and you can see it could just flow over and it could, just take Michelle out to sea. But I guess Barack doesn't care about that. And then there's that Bill Gates guy who's very excited to inject all of your children with experimental drugs. Well, here's his house up in Seattle. How much is that house? It was something like $70 million or something like that. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. But Bill, why would you have a dock there, man? I mean, that dock could overflow with water and be pushed onto your house and break the windows. Oh, hypocrisy, you know no bounds, do you?